Assalamu alaikum friends. Welcome to the sixth lecture of Sociology. Today we will talk about society and its characteristics. Before proceeding to video, please subscribe my channel Competitive Exams Guru and share it with your friends. Today we will talk about society and its characteristics. Apart from that, we will talk about the community and social contract theories as well. So first of all, what is society? So according to the sociologists, it is a group of people with common territory, interaction and culture. So people who are living in a common place, territory, and they interact with each other on regular basis, and they have common culture. We term them as a society. So it is web of social relationships of people, habitual of rationalized social interaction and different roles to play. So people are living in the same societies, having different roles to play. They interact with each other. They share cultures. It's very broad term. For example, we have Eastern society, we have Indian society, or Pakistani society, or Western society. So society and individual. This is another topic. Is a grouping of individuals. They have common culture with subcultures. They have definite territory but fluid boundaries. So that's one of the difference between the community and society as well. Community has definite and defined boundaries, while society have fluid boundaries. To people living in different countries having same cultures or interaction, so they may be termed as society as well. For example, we normally say Western society and Eastern societies, so they do not have definite boundaries. Then they have common social practices, likeliness and sense of belonging, cooperation and competition. They have common culture, norms and customs, and obviously man is a social animal and they are interdependent on each other. So as a whole, these were different concept of societies and different characteristics. Let's move on to the community. So in society, we define community as a group who follow a social structure within a society, culture, norms, value, status. They may work together to organize social life within a particular place, or they may be bound by a sense of belonging sustained across time and space. So what are the characteristics commonness among the individuals? The people living in a community, they have commonness and they have feelings of belonging to each other. They have specific position within society, and there is communal sentiments within society. Within community we have communal sentiments, which is absent in the society. And then we have likeness of thoughts and beliefs, and then common history. Then can be small and large grouping, and they have particular identity. So communal distinctions can be political, religious, or economic in nature. We normally hear in the newspapers, read in the newspapers and watch in TVs and hear in the radios that community and that community. For example, in Pakistan we hear about the Hindu community, about the Sikh community, about the Shia community, about Sunni community. So these are different people, different communities living within the same countries, but they have sense of belongings. They have particular place or area, and they have shared thoughts and shared history. So that's what we can say about community. Again, some differences are there between community and society. Community is a species of society. Society is a broad sense. Community is a part of that society. Community lies within society. Community is a narrower and society is a broader concept. And community is a concrete while society is abstract. You can observe a community that for that particular community in your country or maybe in your cities we have different communities. So for example, in the Karachi we have Muhajir community, we have Pathans community, and the Sindhi community. There could be a Baloch community, but society as a whole, it's an abstract term. That in community we have that communal sentiment, which is more than society than we have in society, and the society can be comprised of the several communities. These are differences between community and society. Dear students, this is today's very important topic is that social contract theory. it's about how this the present day society has been like, came into being. There are different theories about it, how people chose their rulers, how they started like, organizing their societies in what we have today. So there are different concepts about it. So like, the main thing is like, they were saying that in the beginning men were living in a state of nature. They were following natural law. Everybody was free to work. There was no boss, there was no ruler. So later on, like, due to like, certain challenges in the which could be natural challenges, or like, challenges from enemies, from the beasts, etc., they realized that they need like, a specific setup so that they could protect their lives, their properties, their honor, everything, like, so like there were like, different concepts you can watch on the screen as well. So later on, like, they chose authorities and surrendered some of their rights, freedoms to that authority, like, to give them protection of life. So we have like, different theories. The three major theories about social contract theories are as under. Yeah, Mr. Thomas Hobbes is like, very big name in the sociology, and in the international relations as well. We study this guy. So in his book Leviathan, he described it that man was in a state of nature was nasty, brutal, and it was like, condition of war of all against all. Everybody was like, fighting with each other. The man was hostile, nasty, and like, the condition was very chaotic. And so men got exhausted from that daily fights and the threats from fellow human beings, and they devised a plan that we need a proper society in which we have healthy competitions, and we like, we could live peacefully. As a result, like, they chose a sovereign ruler to rule them, and return but for the compromise they have made on their freedom and liberty. Yeah, so like, they chose one sovereign guy, the ruler, who will rule them, and they will follow them. And like, in that Thomas Hobbes writing that individualism, materialism, etc., are very obvious and interwoven in his theory. So that was the social contract theory of Thomas Hobbes. Then there was another guy, John Locke. Like, if you guys have studied the US history, this guy is like, has contributed to that American Revolution as well, or you can say the Declaration of American War of Independence. So John Locke was like, he had different view than in the Mr. Hope. He was saying that man was peace loving, and they were living like, in peace with each other. It was a state of liberty, and they were like, following the law of natures. But there's come like, came the private property, and like, men in a state of nature, he was like, feeling insecure. And why he was feeling insecure? Because there was no established law, there was no impartial judge, and there was absence of natural power to execute natural law. So that's why, like, getting tired of these things, and like, in order to have protection for his property and his life, they chose the servant to rule them. So the main difference is that, like, according to Thomas Hobbes, man was nasty, brutal, and like, a dangerous creature in ancient societies, while like, according to John Locke, the man was peace loving, and they chose the servant in return to, like, protect their properties, their lives, etc. Then we have Jean Rousseau. According to him, social contract is not historical but a hypothetical construction of reason. Like, unlike the Mr. Thomas Hobbes and John Locke, he has like, different view about that thing, and he was saying that it was not like, it was not just rulers, or the people just did not, like, hand out their freedom and choose the sovereign over them, but it was like, the general will of society. that they chose the servant to rule them. So he's saying that the life in the state of nature was happy and there was equality among men. The invention of property constitutes humanity's fall from grace out of the state of nature. Like, before property, they were living peacefully, they were loving each other, they were like, not fighting. But introduction of property in the society, like, brought out these chaos in the society. As a result, like, they started fighting and becoming like, hostile to each other. As a result, the general will of society chose the servant to rule them. So it was like, general will of the society rather than like, any servant for making that social contract. And so furthermore, like, Rousseau's theory inspired French and American revolutions, and it has given impetus to the nationalism. And is one of the very famous quote of this guy is that man is born free, but everywhere he is in chain. Then we have organismic theory. It was like, given by Herbert Spencer. He was saying that human studies like organism, and both are like, having same features. They are growing and then declining. Like, any organism, they pass through the development and maturation and then decline. Similarly, like, he applied these things to the societies, that there is birth of society, then growth, and then decay or change in the society. He was saying that society, like organism, is composed of or comprised of different organs, parts functioning in a proper coordination. So these parts are interdependent and they are contributing to the systems through their individual functions. So this was the concept of organismic theories. So I hope, guys, you have understand these topics and you have loved my lectures. Please subscribe my channel and share it with your friends. I'll be very grateful to you guys. Thank you very